We're always told, keep going, push harder, endure, hustle culture, right? But just persistence, actually doing it over time, well, that feels like it clashes with, being human. We get tired. We hit a wall.
Yeah, absolutely. You run out of energy. It's a biological fact.
So how do we square that circle? How do we deal with that tension? Today, we're doing a deep dive into this really fascinating stack of sources. We've got an ancient battle story, a sharp parable about a judge, and some pretty direct instructions.
Yeah, it's a great mix.
And we're trying to figure out the mechanics, really. How do we keep going when we're running on empty? And maybe who or what steps in when our own strength just gives out?
It's interesting because the sources frame endurance almost like resource management. It's not just about willpower.
Resource management. I like that. Okay.
Yeah, you have to deal with the reality of human limits first.
Yeah.
And you can talk about, divine help or infinite persistence.
Right. Okay, let's get into it then. That first source, the visual one, Exodus 17, Israel versus Amalek. Moses is up on the hill watching the fight below.
And right away, it's clear the battle isn't just about Joshua's fighting skills down on the plain. Not at all.
No.
It hinges entirely on Moses, specifically on him keeping his hands raised. The text is explicit. Israel wins only when his hands are up.
Which is, try doing that. Holding your arms straight up for minutes, let alone hours. It's physically brutal.
Exactly. It's impossible to sustain indefinitely. And the moment his hands drop, the tide turns. Amalek starts winning.
It's such a perfect picture of how our own personal stamina, even spiritual stamina, it just runs out. You will get tired. It's inevitable.
Precisely. And this is where the strategy comes in, the real lesson. It's about recognizing that limitation and planning for it. Sustained effort, even spiritual work, it needs a backup plan. It needs structure.
So when Moses gets exhausted, Aaron and Hur don't just shout encouragement from the sideline.
No, they take practical action, physical support.
They bring him a rock to sit on. Smart. Takes the strain off his legs, his whole body.
Right. Basic ergonomics almost. And then the crucial part. They physically hold his hands up, one on each side, steadying him.
Until sunset, until the job is actually done.
That's the takeaway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even someone like Moses, this huge spiritual leader, he couldn't do it alone. He needed his peers. He needed that community, that physical support structure to fulfill his task over the long haul.
It wasn't just Moses' strength. It was the combined strength, the system they created.
Yeah, the three of them working together. That's what secured the victory.
Okay, so that covers the how of support, the community piece. But what about the individual? The sheer will to keep going, especially when you feel alone, maybe fighting bureaucracy or indifference.
Well, that takes us straight to the parable of the persistent widow in Luke 18. Quite a different scenario. Much more solitary and, frankly, abrasive.
Yeah, this judge, Jesus doesn't pull any punches describing him. He neither feared God nor respected any human being.
He's the worst case scenario, basically.
Yeah.
Completely cynical, probably corrupt, just doesn't care.
And this widow becomes his problem. She just keeps showing up day after day, demanding justice.
He ignores her for a while, but she just won't quit. And then the judge has this internal calculation. It's purely self-interest.
Right. He says to himself, okay, fine, I'll give her justice. Not because it's right, but, and this is the quote, because this widow keeps bothering me, lest she finally come and strike me.
He's worried she's going to physically assault him eventually. Or just wear him down completely.
It's sheer persistence as a tactic. Friction. Constant low-level pressure until he cracks.
And that's the strategic point Jesus makes. He draws this direct line. Look, if even this awful, unjust judge gives in to relentless pestering,
then how much more certain is it that God, who is just and does care about his chosen ones?
Exactly. How much more will God secure the rights of his chosen ones who call out to him day and night? The contrast is the whole point.
But wait, isn't it a bit odd? Using this terrible judge as the comparison point for God? Doesn't that kind of lower the bar or make God seem like he only responds if we nag him enough?
That's a really fair question. I think the text slips it, though. It's not saying God is like the unjust judge in his motivation. It's saying if even the worst kind of respondent yields to persistence,
Okay.
then you can have absolute confidence in the best kind of respondent who acts out of justice and love, not annoyance. And the persistence isn't about manipulating God. It's more about demonstrating our commitment. It proves the depth of our need, maybe.
So the act of persisting changes us, strengthens our resolve, shows we're serious.
That seems to be part of it. And notice the emphasis on justice being done speedily. Maybe that persistent calling, that demonstration of faith somehow aligns us with God's timing or accelerates the process in some way.
Okay, I see. It's about our commitment leading to a swift, certain, righteous response, unlike the judge's slow, grudging, self-serving one.
Precisely. And then this connects back to community, but in a different way. It's not just about receiving support, but about our duty.
Right. That brings us to 2 Timothy. The instructions there shift from personal prayer to public action.
Yeah, the charge Paul gives Timothy, proclaim the word. And here's the key phrase for us. Be persistent, whether it is convenient or inconvenient.
And let's be honest, persistence is usually inconvenient, isn't it?
Almost by definition.
It means doing the work when you're tired, when you'd rather not. Just like Moses needing his arms held, just like the widow having to drag herself back to the judge's court day after day.
And this duty, this inconvenient persistence, it's grounded in the value of the scriptures themselves. Paul reminds Timothy why he has to do this.
Because the scriptures aren't just stories, right? They're tools.
Exactly. Useful for teaching, for refutation, for correction, and for training in righteousness. They're like the operational manual for living a life of faith and doing good work.
So back to the Exodus image. If Aaron and Hur were the physical support for Moses.
Then the scriptures are maybe the mental, the instructional support. They equip you.
Right. They give you the knowledge, the framework, the training, so you are competent, equipped for every good work. They build the capacity for persistence.
And persistence then becomes the active practice of that training. You do it knowing you have this instruction, and hopefully also knowing you have that community support structure we talked about earlier.
Okay, so we've got the human side covered. We need community support like Aaron and Hur. We need individual, stubborn persistence like the widow. But the big question always hovering is, where does the ultimate strength come from? When even the community gets tired.
When you hit the absolute limit.
That's where the third piece comes in, right? The ultimate source of help, Psalm 121.
Yes, the responsorial psalm. It starts with that very human feeling of looking around for help, maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed. I lift up my eyes toward the mountains, whence shall help come to me. Where do I even look?
It voices that moment of need perfectly, and the answer is immediate and cosmic in scale.
Right. My help is from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. It immediately shifts the perspective from finite human capacity to the infinite creator.
The source of help isn't just another person who might also get tired, like Aaron or Hur eventually did. It's the maker of everything.
And the psalm highlights a really specific, crucial attribute: vigilance, constant awareness.
Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep.
That's the core contrast, isn't it? Humans need rest. Moses got tired. Aaron and Hur presumably went home after sunset. But this divine guardian never sleeps, never looks away, constant vigilance.
It's a constant presence. That's the ultimate backstop. It provides the security blanket, maybe, that allows us to keep trying, keep persisting.
And the promises in the psalm are so encompassing. Protection from all harm. Sun by day, moon by night, guarding your coming and going, now and forever. It's total coverage.
Day and night, no gaps.
So when we think about persistence, especially in prayer, like the widow, this psalm suggests we're tapping into that never-tiring source. Our persistence strengthens our trust because we're relying on someone who doesn't have the limitations we do.
And we have to trust the timing, too, right?
Yeah.
The widow wanted justice now. The judge delayed. God's timing might not be our timing. But the psalm assures us the guardian is always present, always watching.
Exactly. We persist, trusting that the response will come in God's perfect time, as the reflection notes say. And remember Psalm 145, the Lord is near to all who call upon him in truth. That nearness is linked to the sincerity, the truthfulness, the persistence of the call.
Okay, so let's try and pull all these threads together. We've seen 3 distinct angles on endurance.
Yeah, if you synthesize them, you get a kind of a 3-part strategy for sustained effort.
Okay.
First, acknowledge human limits. You will get tired. So you need practical communal support. That's the Aaron and Hur principle. Build your support system.
Got it. Step 1, don't go it alone.
Step 2, cultivate fierce personal commitment. You still have to do the work, make the call, show up. That's the widow's persistence. The drive has to be there.
Right. Community supports, but you provide the engine.
And step 3, place your ultimate reliance on the divine, on the guardian who is always vigilant, never sleeps, never runs out of resources. Your effort matters, but your ultimate hope rests on God's unwavering presence and power.
Human effort, peer support, and divine vigilance. It's a full system.
Exactly. Your persistent effort connects you to the divine source, and your community keeps you from falling down when the effort gets too heavy. It all works together.
That really does map it out clearly. The practical push, the strategic support, and the foundational reliance. So thinking about you, the listener, after hearing all this framework for endurance, what's the final thought? What's the thing to really chew on?
Well, I'd go back to that question Jesus asks right after he tells the parable of the persistent widow. It's quite sobering, actually.
Yeah.
He's just finished explaining why persistence in prayer is vital, how God will surely grant justice. And then he asks, but when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth?
Oh.
Yeah, it shifts everything, doesn't it? After laying out the how-to of endurance, he asks about the will it last? Can our faith, our commitment, actually endure the inconvenience, the weariness, the long waits?
Can we sustain it until the very end?
Right. It puts the challenge squarely back on us. Will we practice this persistence? Will we build the support? Will we trust the guardian? Will faith itself endure? That's the ultimate question these sources leave us with.
A powerful note to end on. It really asks you to examine the state of your own endurance, your own faith.